Welcome to News Politics Era. President Biden and former President Donald Trump are on a path that would cause a rematch in 2024 of their 2020 election contest. Some past polls have urged that such a face-off could be close. Before we continue, please support us by clicking on the subscription button and turn on the notification bell for more reliable updates. In 2022, however, the competition between the two politicians was something however close. It had been Biden over Trump decisively. That result was hardly preordained once the year opened. Within the early months of 2022, Biden and his party were facing substantial obstacles. The president approval ratings were among all-time low of any recently elected president, as dangerous as or worse than Trump at a similar purpose within the Trump presidency. Historical trends were running against the Democrats. Inflation was rising. The southern border was facing a surge of migrants. Even through early November, Republicans talked a couple of wave election, and plenty of Democrats feared one. Among the Democratic Party, there have been many doubters concerning the strategy that the president and his White House team were pursuing. Complaints about White House electronic messaging were numerous. When legislative successes in 2021, the prospects for extra achievements appeared questionable. White House officers endured blunt criticism from seeming allies about the course they were pursuing. Those early months offered Trump opportunities that would have affected future events. Instead, he lost those opportunities with choices that price his party within the midterm elections and seem to cost him politically as well. Trump spent the year clinging to the lie that the 2020 election had been taken and exacting that others in the Republican Party embraced those conspiracy theories. From his outpost at Mar-a-Lago in South Florida, he wanted to indicate that he was the party kingmaker, giving endorsements to like-minded politicians. That saddled the Republicans with candidates not prepared for general elections. Were it not for that, arguably, Republicans would currently have a majority within the Senate instead of an internet loss of one seat. Within the spring and summer, Biden made decisions that ultimately paid off. They included the steady pursuit of legislative victories that eventually resulted in the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, with solely Democratic votes, bipartisan passage of a bill to invigorate domestic semiconductor manufacturing, a live to worry for veterans affected by the results of poisonous burn pits, and a modest gun safety bill, the primary such measure in a decade. Biden additionally pursued an electronic communications strategy designed to complete much of the Republican Party and Trump image. The MAGA, Make Yank Nice Again, Republicans, as he referred to as them. With an assist from the House Select Committee worked the January 6, 2021, attack on the U.S. Capitol, Biden wanted to form considerations concerning the state of U.S. democracy, a part of the midterm dialogue. Some Democrats puzzled whether or not that plan of action was misplaced, given polls showing Americans most distressed about inflation and therefore the economy. Biden stuck to it. He said democracy was on the ballot in November, and lots of voters agreed, to the damage of the former president and his party. Trump unwittingly assisted the president's strategy, first by refusing to leaving behind of 2020, and second by changing into the main focus of two investigations by the Department of Justice. Each are ongoing. One involves the role of the former president and people around him before and through the attack on the Capitol. During a few days, the January 6 committee may cite Trump in criminal referrals to the Justice Department for his role within the attack on the Capitol. The other investigation involves his call to retain classified documents that ought to have been in the hands of the government, however, instead were in boxes and elsewhere at Mar-a-Lago. A special counsel is overseeing the investigations. One in every of Trump's successes as president become a political liability for Republicans in 2022. In office, Trump added 3 conservatives to the Supreme Court with the help of Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell, Kentucky, who in 2016 had blocked one candidate by President Barack Obama, and in 2020 rammed through another simply before Biden election. Last summer, the court conservative majority, in Dobbs v. Jackson Women Health Organization, ended the constitutional right to abortion, inflaming abortion rights supporters. The ruling modified the midterm election dynamic. The election results represent themselves. Republicans didn't lead of the Senate once they had a lucid path to the bulk and barely won a majority within the House. The University of Maryland Important Problems poll found that almost as many people said the election was a vote on Trump, 14%, as said it had been a referendum on Biden, 17%. Biden tried to be one in every of the four most successful newly elected presidents, politically speaking, in generations. Within the weeks since the election, the pattern has continued. Trump declared his movement for 2024 because the midterm results were still solidifying. The reviews of that announcement were something but positive. He appeared flat instead of energized and had very little unaccustomed say. Since then, he has done nothing of note as a candidate, raising the question of why he felt the requirement to formally announce so soon, then again to hector the Justice Department as its investigations push forward. Last month, he dined with an anti-Semite, Ye, the rapper formerly called Kanye West, and with a supremacist also an anti-Semite, Nick Fuentes. He recently tweeted groundless claims that the massive fraud in 2020 allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found within the Constitution. Expression the election either ought to be thrown out with him, declared the winner, or a replacement election should be held. He continues to hold tight dangerous fantasies. Rather than being serious, he has embraced trade and greed. Simply last week, he freed digital commercialism cards, NFTs, of himself that he was giving for sale. For Trump, celebrity and development stay his priorities, degrading the office he once held. Maybe the new cards were speculated to be just a joke, a bit fun before the holidays. However, there has been nothing to counter the impression that he has no second chapter, no future focus. His standing among the party has taken a transparent hit. A recent Wall Street Journal poll tested Republican preferences for the 2024 nomination. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who scored a giant election victory, ran first with 52%, followed by Trump at 38%. A replacement USA Today poll showed DeSantis at 56% and Trump at 33%. The results are notable, if potentially transitory. When Trump declared his bid for president in 2016, he never trailed in any Washington Post ABC News poll testing Republicans during a nomination contest, though those polls invariably concerned a multi-candidate field instead of head-to-head tests. The USA Today poll also showed Biden leading Trump by 7 share points. The 2024 nomination contest hasn't begun. DeSantis has not even said he can last president. Trump could be a skilled and merciless candidate. DeSantis is untested, as are most alternative potential challengers. Still, the success of Biden and therefore the failures of Trump this year have colored the post-2022 election environment. Biden is moving toward an election campaign, although he has not created an announcement. That's possible to come back someday when the State of the Union address. A calamitous midterm election probably would have raised considerations a couple of second Biden campaign. Today, he's safer among the Democratic Party than he was a few months ago. Midterm elections don't seem to be sensible predictors of the following presidential election campaign. Presidents whose parties have suffered vital midterm defeats Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama have rebounded and won election 2 years later. George Bush had a successful 2002 midterm. The impact of the attacks of September 11, 2001, provided him a boost. And he won election in 2004, but had to fight exhausting to do so. There's been no recent comparison to this situation. Despite Biden's sensible fortunes in 2022 and Trump failures, there's nothing bound concerning how 2024 can play out. Biden's age and capability to handle the job stay issues to several voters. A campaign against a Republican then again Trump would diverge from one against Trump. The president faces continued challenges. Maintaining international support for supplying Ukraine within the war with Russia, addressing a China that has become isolated and potentially more of an opposer, thanks to the pandemic, associate a nursing economy that has strengths and weaknesses, and worries a couple of recession here and abroad, a southern border surge that continues to be a Democratic weak spot in terms of policy, an aggressive Republican majority within the House. Thus nothing is definite concerning how events can unfold, decision-making by the past. However, in 2022, there was one clear loser, and it wasn't who the majority thought it'd be because the year began. Thanks for watching. Let us know your view in the comments section below.